To kick us off today, we are making this orzo skillet, so I'm going to start out by cutting up my vegetables. I just diced 3 large carrots and a yellow onion into smaller pieces. Over to the pan on my stove, I have a tablespoon of hot olive oil in there, or you could use a tablespoon of butter if you'd like. I added the carrots and onion in. I'm going to saute them for about 4 to 5 minutes. While those are sauteing, I am going to just cut up about 3 cups of rotisserie chicken. If you don't want to use rotisserie chicken, you could always use canned chicken or any type of cooked shredded chicken will work. Now that my veggies are soft, I added in my half a cup of orzo along with 2 cups of chicken broth. Then for the seasonings, a teaspoon of salt, a half a teaspoon of pepper, a teaspoon of onion powder, garlic powder, paprika, and dried basil. I know this doesn't look like much right now, but this is so good. Let this simmer covered for about 10 minutes, stirring occasionally until the orzo is tender. Now that the orzo is tender, I'm going to add in the rest of the ingredients. So 1 cup of frozen peas. If you're not a pea fan, you certainly don't have to add the peas in. Same with some of these other ingredients. Like if you're not a Parmesan cheese fan, you don't have to add the half a cup of Parmesan cheese in. Then I added in a half a cup of heavy cream along with the rotisserie chicken. Give this a stir, let this cook for about 3 more minutes, then you could serve it up. You know a dinner is good when your little ones get seconds. My little ones got seconds of this dinner. It was just so good. This orzo skillet is so easy to throw together. It is so rich and tasty. Also, if you want to like double this recipe and save it in your freezer for like a freezer meal, this one works great for that too. Now we're making these green chili chicken enchiladas. So into this bowl, I'm adding about 2.5 cups of rotisserie chicken, or you could use any type of cooked shredded chicken. Then 1 cup of shredded cheddar or Mexican style cheese. Then I added in 4 ounces of diced green chilies. Those green chilies add a ton of great flavor. They don't add very much spice at all. Then add in 3/4 cup of sour cream with a half a teaspoon of salt and pepper. Stir to combine these ingredients all together, and then once it looks like this, it is ready to go. If you have my cookbook, pull it out because this recipe is on page 71. It's in the casserole section, and this is my all-time favorite go-to enchilada recipe. It's so easy to make. But over to this pot on my stove, I'm adding in 20 ounces of green enchilada sauce. Bring this mixture up to a boil. Now it's time to make our enchiladas, so you will carefully dip each corn tortilla in that green enchilada mixture. This is going to make it so the tortillas don't crack. It's going to kind of make them softer so you are able to roll them. And then add about 2 to 3 tablespoons of the chicken enchilada filling in the tortillas, then roll them up. I made about 12 enchiladas total. I do have a little helper who is just overly excited to help me make this dinner, but pour the remaining enchilada sauce over the top. Now sprinkle 1 cup of either Mexican style or a shredded cheddar cheese over the sauce. Bake this in a preheated oven to 350 degrees for about 25 minutes or until the cheese is like golden and bubbly on the top. I grew up in New Mexico, and we used to eat enchiladas all of the time in New Mexico. They were just so good there. But this is a delicious, simple, easy way to make enchiladas. These are absolutely delicious, and you could top them with your favorite toppings. We topped ours with a little bit of guacamole, tomato, and then some sour cream. Now we're making this chicken bacon Alfredo, so over to this large pot of boiling water on my stove, I'm adding in 14 ounces of rotini pasta, or you could use any type of pasta that you like to. Cook it according to the package instructions. While the pasta is cooking away, I am going to get started on my bacon, so to this pan I added 5 pieces of bacon. I'm also adding in 1/4 cup of water. The water will help the bacon cook evenly. Now that my pasta is tender, I'll strain it, and I'm going to to set this pasta to the side, but I'm just going to flip my bacon now, and I'm going to cook my bacon until it is crispy. Just cook your bacon until it is to your desired crispiness, but once your bacon is crispy, just remove it to a plate lined with paper towels and set it to the side. To the same pan that the bacon was cooked in the bacon grease, I added a tablespoon of minced garlic. Let it cook for about 10 seconds. Now I'm adding in 2 teaspoons of Italian seasoning, along with about 2 cups of rotisserie chicken that I shredded. Let this cook together for about 3 minutes. After that, you are going to add in about 3 cups of heavy cream, along with a half a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of pepper, and then a third a cup of chicken broth. Give this a really good stir and scrape all of those flavorful bits off the bottom of your pan. Those flavorful bits will make this sauce extra good. You got to trust me. Let this simmer on your stove for about 7 minutes, stirring occasionally until the sauce thickens. Then add in your 3/4 cup of Parmesan cheese and your cooked crumbled bacon. Let the cheese melt down, and once it is melty, you could stir your cooked pasta in, and then you could serve this up. A lot of the time, chicken bacon Alfredo dishes call for a ton of different ingredients. They're not super easy to make, and then by the end, you have like a bunch of dishes to do. But this one is so easy to throw together. They're simple steps, simple ingredients, and it is so delicious. It tastes like a treat. Now we are making these crispy taquitos, so to this bowl I'm adding in 3 cups of rotisserie chicken, or you could use any type of cooked chicken. Then add in 5 ounces of softened cream cheese. Make sure the cream cheese is softened just so you're able to stir this. Then add in either 1 cup of shredded cheddar cheese or Mexican style cheese. Then a half a cup of salsa, any type of salsa will work. Then a third a cup of sour cream, and this might seem different, but I'm adding in 1 cup of fresh chopped spinach. The spinach really ties these taquitos together and makes them super good. The spinach doesn't have like a super strong flavor. It just works really well in these taquitos. But I set that to the side. We're going to work on our corn tortillas now. I have a damp paper towel right here. On the paper towel, I'm going to add between about 12 to 15 corn tortillas. Wrap the corn tortillas up in the paper towel and microwave them for about 1.5 minutes. This will help soften the corn tortillas so they don't just break apart while you're rolling them up. None of us want to be making taquitos and have the corn tortilla just break apart on us, but place about 3 tablespoons of the chicken filling in each corn tortilla, then tightly roll them up. Over to a large pan, or you could use a large pot on your stove. You are going to want to add in your high temperature oil. I'm adding in a half a cup of vegetable oil. Just wait for that oil to get hot. When it does start to get hot, my favorite way to check to see if it is hot is just to add a little piece of corn tortilla to the oil, and if it kind of dances around and bubbles, then you know it is hot. But place each of the taquitos seam side down into your pot or your pan. Cook them for about 3 minutes on each side until they are golden brown. You will need to do this in batches just because you don't want to overcrowd your pan, but once they are golden brown on each side, you do want to remove them to a plate lined with paper towels. When I shallow fry things like this, not in super deep oil, I do like to cover the pan slightly with a lid, not completely cover it, just cover it slightly, and that will help prevent the oil from splattering all around your stove. So I do want to let you guys know about that. But once these are finished, you could just top them with your favorite toppings. We like to top ours with a little bit of tomato, sour cream, and guacamole, but top yours with anything you have on hand. That filling tastes like $1,000,000. It is so good. If you've never had these taquitos before, I really recommend you trying them. My little ones really loved them too. Now we are making this garlic parmesan chicken with a zucchini and yellow squash. I'm starting out by cutting my zucchini and yellow squash into smaller pieces. Over to the pan on my stove, I added in a tablespoon of olive oil and a tablespoon of butter. Once my butter was melted, I added my squash and zucchini right into my pan. I'll season just with a dash of salt and pepper. Cook until they are golden brown on the outside and to the tenderness that you like them to be. Now I'm going to add in my 2 cups of shredded rotisserie chicken, or you could use chopped rotisserie chicken. For the seasonings, add in 2 teaspoons of Italian seasoning, a teaspoon of garlic powder and onion powder, then 1/3 cup of Parmesan cheese, and this is optional, but it's really good at this time of the year. Add in a half of a lemon, just juice that lemon right in there. This is a variation of this recipe on page 192 in my cookbook. It's in the super quick dinner section. I love this section. I have 8 sections in my cookbook, ranging from sides to one-pot meals to desserts. I seriously have it all in this cookbook, and I do have some in stock right now. So if you don't have one, I have them linked down below for you. But just give this a really good stir and let everything cook together for a few minutes. This recipe is just so good at this time of the year, then you could serve it up. I have been making variations of this dinner for years and years. I love making it like in July and August, just because I know a lot of people have zucchini and squash in their gardens. You could also find zucchini and squash like at farmers markets, but it really is so good. I served it with a side salad with spring mix, a little bit of carrots, salad topper, and I used this Big T's ranch dressing. It is so flavorful. I found it at a store here in Utah. I also served this with this chicken flavored broccoli